the rate at which you're extracting your resources is less than the rate at which it is being regenerated. If that is the case, then it's not really an issue because it is being reimbursed by the nature. It becomes an issue if the rate at which we are extracting is more than the rate of regeneration. That is when it becomes an issue. Looking at overconsumption and the overproduction that we have, then we talk about absorptive capacity. That is the waste that we are generating. If it is something that can be absorbed by the planet, then it is all right. But if we are unable to dispose of the waste and it goes beyond the absorptive capacity, then again we're looking at an environmental crisis. These were the things that we briefly discussed yesterday. Something that I want to talk about is this. When we're looking at how environmental problems are new to the century, or why are we claiming that to be true? Um, Largely, things changed around the time of industrial revolution that was experienced. Before that, largely things were within the carrying capacity and the absorptive capacity. The process of overproduction and overconsumption came in with your mass line assembly productions happening, where earlier people were asking for resources and that was easily being met because the supply felt abundant, can be attributed to low population or low demands of the population. Now we're looking at a reversed cycle. The demand for the resources is more and the supply feels less according to what is being asked for. This is what your book refers to as reversal of supply and demand relationship. I'll just repeat what is the reversal. Initially, we felt as if the demand for the resources was less and the supply was enough to cater to that. So everything was within your carrying and absorptive capacity. Now with industrial revolution coming in, with the population increasing, with the needs of the population increasing, with factoring wants also. So moving beyond the needs and you're also looking at wants and overconsumption and overproduction happening, the demand for your resources is more than what is supplied by the nature. So with this reversal of demand and supply relationship, we're talking about an environmental crisis. This is what triggers the entire discussion of environmental issues.
Ma'am, can you explain this reversal part
I
again?
can. Or do one thing. Please do one thing. Everyone just take out a minute. Please read this portion and then we talk about it again. Are we done reading?
Yes, ma'am, and I got it.
Perfect. As this online video, we started with this video yesterday, so I'm skipping this one. Certain questions. Skipping this also. This is basically the introduction of the chapter, and too many questions can be asked from this. So we'll be mentally prepared. All right, next thing, I see more people have joined in. Uh, I know this is an awkward time for such a request, but do you see those messages that I send early in the morning? That is considered as assembly. Now, different classes have been submitting certain videos, and that is circulated to the rest of the school as a part of assembly. Ideally, today was supposed to be our class's turn. It's because I forgot or some misunderstanding happened. I thought maybe we'll resume after the exams. So that basically means in a day or two, I'm supposed to send in videos from our class and I'm supposed to say that this is for 12E's assembly. I would need some 2, 3, or maybe 4, 5 people to volunteer for this, please.
Does anyone like really watches these videos? Just we can also like take a blank screen and extend it for 1 minute and then send it. I don't think anyone watches these, ma'am.
See, I would have engaged in a debate if I would have thought that maybe I stand a chance to win. I'm already surrendered. I will not debate here. I will not do anything. Please, I just have to submit. I don't want to be a lousy class teacher who fails to get her class a representation.
Ma'am, for that competition, I remember a few months back I sent you this clip regarding, you know, what these online classes are about. Can we like use that only?
Will it be possible for you to reshare it?
Yeah, ma'am. I'll just send it again.
All right. Do we have Khushi on call?
Yes, ma'am.
Khushi, there was an event for which you sent a video of a classical dance, maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Will it be okay if I use that?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you sure? I don't want to coerce you. You can say no also. I'll ask someone else then. Don't be forced into it. Take your time.
Ma'am, I will resend you the last slide that I have attached, that I had attached to it. I will remove that and then I will resend you. Then you can share it.
Perfect. If you can alter, then maybe you start, just share your name, Khushi Khurana, 12E, and maybe a presentation or
Yes,
whatever.
ma'am.
Thank you. I also remember no, Arjun, another thing. Do we have Arjun on call today? No. Find someone to give Arjun a reminder, maybe to talk to me. He also sent a similar video. Fine. So I have a dance performance. I'll have something from music. I'll have something from online classes. That basically means we've collected three things. Maybe I'll catch hold of one of you. One unlucky person will receive a text from me today, and I'll very sweetly ask you people to do a portion. Thank you. And we have our assembly. Such a productive class. Chalo, we continue. Acha, one last thing. Do we have Aditya Bajaj on call today?
Yes, ma'am.
Aditya, were you there yesterday?
No, ma'am.
Do we have a reason for that, Aditya?
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm not well from last few days.
All right. Oh, I was expecting another reason. Aditya, was it your birthday yesterday?
Yes, ma'am.
Aditya, we share birthday.
Oh,
People, it was his birthday also. Just, anyway, just general information. Belated happy birthday, Aditya.
thank you, ma'am.
All right. Taking things forward, when we're talking about environmental issues, I believe someone once asked me, are we supposed to do boxes? Now, certain boxes are purely case studies or stories. So I have skipped those boxes because those can be read and I can make a question and you can easily answer. It will be like an unseen passage. Boxes of environment I have included because they're quite factual and our syllabus explicitly mentions global warming as a part um, of our course. So the portion of global warming is not really explained in texts, it is explained in the box. So I've included that here. Similarly, ozone depletion, brackets में मैंने box लिख दिया है for you people to know that I'm referring to a box, but it is again a part of the syllabus. So we're not supposed to skip any box. We're not supposed to skip any image. Image के नीचे कोई footnote भी है. If someone really wants to take out any enmity from us, they can ask the question based on that also. How about I do not explain? Take 2 minutes. ये पढ़ लो. बहुत general है. Certain things are known, certain are not known. Take 2 minutes, read, and then we discuss. or maybe someone else explains. Are we done reading?
Just a second, ma'am. Done, ma'am.
May I assume that others have also read?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Anyone who would want to explain anything that they've gathered so far? Archie, can we try?
Yes, ma'am. Basically, global warming means like increase in it makes the uh, increasing the temperature of the earth due to the emission of greenhouse gases, and it is usually
I can accept increase in the temperature. I can accept about the greenhouse gases. Talking about increase in temperature, we can have different reasons. Certain reasons attributed to your industrial revolution, some attributed to increase in human population and the consumption that comes along with it. There are, when we're talking about the greenhouse gases, these details are about the greenhouse gases, where you're looking at emission of your carbon dioxide and methane. Very often, if you'll see, many countries are concerned about their carbon footprints. Why exactly are they talking about the carbon footprints? Because they know that it directly increases global warming. Global warming hota hai, so you're looking at an average increase in the temperature of the earth. With that, there are certain consequences. Point 6 talks about those consequences. So you're looking at melting of your snow, you're talking about melting of the ice sheets that we have in the polar areas. So you're looking at increase in the level of the sea. You're talking about disruption of different life forms that are there. So the animals that are there, the organisms that are there, they will also face certain issues. Everything that is initially triggered from a rise in the temperature of the planet. This can also lead to a case of increased or disruption in your climatic patterns. So if I talk about increased heat can say trigger a forest fire. So you're looking at dried leaves that are there and your temperature is rising. That can be one natural cause of increasing of having forest fires, which further will make things worse for us by increasing the temperature. वैसे ही natural causes से आपके forest fire हो जाता है. If your human causes also add to it, then again you're looking at more greenhouse gases, and again the cycle goes on. This point 5 talks about certain data also. One, they're looking at how our carbon dioxide levels are above the pre-industrial level, and you're looking at methane levels that are high. Both of them are a part of greenhouse gases, which make global warming a major issue. Talking about point 7 holds certain importance. This goes by the name of Kyoto Protocol. When they met together and they agreed on addressing issue of global warming, one major result was that you had completely agreed to stop using CFCs, which goes as your chloro. I think it will come in the next one here. So CFCs were also stopped using. That did not happen in Kyoto Protocol. Rather, it was agreed that they ensured that they've all stopped using CFCs because they harm the ozone layer. Taking ozone layer ka case, this is also a box. Take 2 minutes. Please read this and then we discuss.
Ma'am, in this global warming box, the last point, did anything happen in the US conference?
There is one which is Montreal Day. We'll be talking about that, which is a trigger from the Kyoto Protocol. So we're not really looking at tangible outcomes happening. We're talking about raising issues at international level. And जब आप बोलते हो awareness spread करनी है, it is not only micro. You're also looking at macro levels where the countries agree that when they go back, they'll bring about a change. So that acknowledgement and that initiative was major takeaway from Kyoto Protocol.
Yeah, ma'am.
Navya, can we explain this? Anything that we've understood? Someone to tell Navya later that I called out her name and she did not revert. Yatharth, are you there? All right. Tanish, can we try explaining? All right, not an issue. Yatharth and Navya have signed in and have vanished. Harshit, do you think you can try? All right, last try. Akshit, do you think this can be done? when we're talking about ozone depletion, why exactly do we take this as a concern? Because we're talking about ozone as a layer that protects Earth from the harmful rays coming from the sun that we refer to as the ultraviolet rays. Looking at certain gases that have caused depletion in your ozone layer, leading to a problem. Why? Because the radiation has harmful impact on human and different life forms. If we continue with the consumption patterns, that basically means we are ready to make things worse for all the life forms that we have. A data fact here talking about how you're looking at a reduction in the ozone layer, and this is just between 1979 to 1990, makes it 11 years. Or abhi itna industrialization was not at its peak. If you look at today's world, where everyone is, when you're looking at a globalized world, if I remember, we spoke yesterday of why do I consider globalization as a major fault that we've ever made, because it has increased our carbon footprint of transportation, increased our carbon footprint in terms of industrialization. So the impact on ozone layer between 1990 to say today would have been much worse than what it has happened in the past. This is what I was talking about. The Montreal Protocol, we'll again refer to it in the text also when it will come in, with the issue of sustainability, was the one that encouraged a ban for your CFCs. So if you read about CFCs, initially they were your coolant agent, so used for refrigeration, used for air conditioning. Now, most of the countries claim to have banned CFCs because this happens to harm your ozone layer deeply. Again, this is from a box, goes as an important box, so we can't ignore this one. Next, we'll talk about the state of India's environment. In state, we'll basically look at what is the condition of the environment for, particularly for our country. तो अब तक जो पढ़ा है वो बहुत generalized पढ़ा है. We get specific to our country. Point A here talks about the rich resources that we have been blessed with. So the geographical advantages of our country can be in terms of soil, can be the specialty of the black soil that we have, can be your fertile plains that are due to the rivers, can be due to the forest spread that we have. So there are, being a peninsula, we have access to water from 3 different sources. You're looking at how we've been lucky in terms of having different natural resources. One advantage for us. However, again, looking at our population, the resources always will pose a problem because they're finite. What kind of problem are we looking at? They've highlighted a dichotomy here, this one. Major problems दो हैं हमारे लिए. One, there's a threat of poverty-induced environmental degradation. सोच के बताओ poverty की वजह से क्या environmental degradation हो सकता है? One. Second, threat of pollution from affluence and rapid growing industrial sector. I need one example for each of worsening the environmental situation.
Ma'am, can you please repeat your question?
My question here, it basically says the threat of India's environment poses a dichotomy. A, threat of poverty-induced environmental degradation, and at the same time, threat of pollution from affluence and rapidly growing industrial sector. I need
Ma'am,
examples of each.
yes, threat, ma'am, I have an example of threat of poverty induced. So, as the rural area, the people of rural areas are basically poor, so they don't have LPG gas cylinders at their homes. So the only use for their, they use only biofuels or cow dung, etc. for cooking. So this poses a lot of pollution. So that's one example.
Thank you. Accepted. Any other examples you can think of?
Ma'am, for the
Anju?
industrial sector, it can be the waste that they generate, and there is no proper disposal for the waste that is generated.
Thank you. So people have this tendency of dumping their waste in rivers. You're harming the environment because of your increased industrial activities. Anyone else who wants to offer any example?
For threat of pollution from affluence and rapidly growing industrial sector, in India, industries have to create low costing goods, so they have to do a lot of cost cutting. Therefore, they can't really, process their waste materials, and then they expose the waste materials in the environment without treating, and that harms our environment.
Taken untreated waste. Aaron, your point is duly noted and accepted. Shashank, can I say that the burning, what is it called? The stubble burning can be attributed to
Yes, ma'am.
poverty-induced environmental degradation. Waste disposal becomes a part of the affluence that we have. So गरीब हो तो आप environmental degradation के लिए causes कर सकते हो, आप super rich हो, ultra rich हो, super rich भी क्यों, upper middle class भी हो, you will have to look at your consumption, because that also contributes towards poverty, environmental degradation. All right, moving on, we're talking about different threats. One, we're looking at air pollution. I'm at point C right now. Water contamination, soil erosion, deforestation, wildlife extinction are most pressing concerns. Certain issues that they've highlighted, we'll briefly discuss land degradation. All right, how many of you attended that session that was taken by, I don't remember the name of the girl, but she spoke of land degradation in her presentation when we had that eco meet for all the classes together. Did we listen to what she was saying that day?
No.
Ishika or Shreya? Shreya was
Shreya.
speaking on land degradation, I remember.
We'll be talking about what she was discussing. I'll be very brief with that because she explained very well. That's your loss there. Okay. Moving forth, when we're talking about land, again, you're talking about certain factors that cause degradation of land. Here. 1 minute लीजिए, ये पढ़िए. Should be self-explanatory. Just in case there's any factor that you want me to discuss, please let me know.
Ma'am, in this, can you please explain point number 4 and point number 9? Oh, point number 11, sorry. 4 and 11.
Before I explain, anyone who thinks they can answer this question? You said 4 and 11. Anyone who can answer 4, or shall I go ahead with that? I'll go ahead. 4 talks about encroachment into forest lands. Do we know the meaning of the word encroachment?
Right.
No, it's not right. Encroachment of an area is basically violating someone's space and taking control forcefully.
I said the
Or-
opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically intrusion into someone's space. When you're talking about encroachment into forest lands, that basically means the humans getting into the forest land and using it for their own purposes. Now, that purposes can be basic as, say, gathering fuel wood, or it can be devastating in terms of cutting down the trees. If it's about cutting down the trees, then you're looking at deforestation.
So, ma'am, point number 4 is already covered in point number 1, isn't it?
Point number 1 of loss of vegetation due to deforestation need not all. You're looking at, fine, when we talk about forests, no, encroachment wala becomes even more serious, because you can also talk about the reserved area. You have the reserved greenbelt portion. Now, if you're looking at encroaching into even that, the deeper portions of the forest. So either you have trees being cut down for for even say urbanization, metro बनाने के लिए trees काटी हैं, या फिर for industrialization आप trees काट रहे हो, that can be one. That is something that is not, that is just widely spread. If I talk about forest land and reserves of the forest, then you're looking at an entire ecosystem in itself. Forest अपने में ही एक ecosystem है. That is even worse, that you're removing the entire ecosystem altogether just for your greed. So fourth gets a little more serious than one.
Sure, ma'am. And ma'am, about point 11, I think it's about water sources, open water sources. I'm not sure really.
Anyone who wants to offer explanation for that? All right. Open access resource can be any resource, but when we say open access, this basically means it is available to everyone. Since it is available to everyone, then there is no control on the use of the resource. If I say that the air that we breathe, it is available to everyone. So everyone uses it there to their own लिमिट. अगर मैं कहती हूँ कि फार्मर्स के लिए ओपन एक्सेस रिसोर्स एयर है, इन्होंने स्टबल बर्निंग कर दी, इन्होंने उस रिसोर्स को तो हार्म किया ही, बट वी आर ऑल्सो यूजिंग द सेम रिसोर्स. सो व्हेन यू डील विद ओपन एक्सेस रिसोर्सेज, नो वन टेक्स अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ दैट रिसोर्स. सिमिलरली अगर मैं बोलती हूँ एक पैस्चर लैंड है, बहुत ग्रास है वहां पर, हर कोई जाकर अपने कैटल को वहीं पर खाना खिलवा रहा है. सिंस इट इज एन ओपन एक्सेस रिसोर्स, सबके पास उसका एक्सेस है, ऐसे रिसोर्सेज का ओवर यूज मैक्सिमम होता है. Unless you put a price or unless it is regulated, you're looking at depletion of these resources. Can be any resource which is open to use by everyone.
Ma'am, in point two, when there is written fodder extraction, so as I said yesterday, that the if the rather than that stubble burning, if the farmers just feed their cattle with that waste, that residue, that could be one reason. That could be some, that could be, you know, reused.
Shashank, that calls out for a tie between the community. On one hand, you're looking at if people are working in isolation with zero ties with one another, then things will become difficult. एक होता है जैसे positive externality हो जाता है. I want my land clean, you have cattle, तो easy हो जाता है. If you're looking at I simply want my land cleaned on one place, someone else has cattle somewhere else altogether, then I will not, as a rational producer, unfortunately this happens to be rationality in eco, I will not increase my cost with zero returns. Then it poses a challenge.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. We'll discuss from point B. I was hoping to finish, but I don't think I can. I'll simply post your question for attendance. Please go and mark your attendance. Khushi and Shivam, please share your videos. And one more person I'll be reaching out to you today. For now, that is it. Have a good day, everyone.
Sure, ma'am. Good day.